Welcome to this week's database tutorial video. This week we're going to be covering the MLA International Bibliography Database. MLA, of course, stands for the Modern Language Association. And for English majors and English minors, this is a key organization in your field, and it offers many tools, one of which is this database, which gathers some of the latest research in English studies, among other modern language studies. So we're going to start where we have been starting by logging into my.usf.edu, and under Learning and Teaching Tools, scroll down to Library Services. And then again, under Research Tools, we're going down to Database by Subject. And then we'll scroll down and make sure that English is highlighted. Make sure that Article Databases is highlighted in the middle. And then again, the green Go button on the right-hand side, which is out of view of the video, you click on that green Go button. Now I'm going to resituate the pane just a little bit here so I can show you some information about the MLA. See if it's going to let me do that. You may have to stop it and resituate. I'll be right back. Okay, sometimes my mouse just gets a little sticky and doesn't want to let me drag and drop. So we dragged it over a little bit so that we could scroll down, and you can see the MLA International Bibliography link. It's here along close to the bottom. If I wanted to again learn more about this database and what kinds of information is archived here, I could click on this white information button, and you'll see that a little box pops up that tells me that this database indexes journal articles, books, and dissertations in the area of literature, language, and linguistics, and so on. The electronic version dates back to the 1920s and contains over 1.8 million citations from over 4,400 journals. So this is a very large database, and probably when you're looking for secondary sources, this is one of the first places you would want to go, and that's why I've included it early in the semester. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and access the MLA International Bibliography. See if my mouse will let me do a little more dragging here. There we go. Now I want you to notice that along the top we have some menu bars that you should familiarize yourself with. You'll notice that the default opens to doing what we call a Boolean search, a search that uses and, or not, and it defaults to and, so that you can put multiple search terms in these boxes when you are ready to search. But we're not going to search right away because there are several other features of the database that I want to introduce you to. First of all, notice along the top, New Search, Thesaurus. You can link directly to a thesaurus, MLA Directory of Periodicals, and I'm going to come back to that in just a second, and then some other tools. Notice also further along that top toolbar, you'll see Folder, Preferences, Languages, and New Features, Ask Us, and Help. So all of those are along the top toolbar, and we're going to come back to folders in a subsequent video. But right now I want to introduce you to one of the nice features of the MLA International Bibliography, and that is the MLA Directory of Periodicals. This is where you can get more information about a particular journal. So say you do a search, and in your search results comes up a particular journal, and you don't really know that much about that journal, and you don't know if an article in that journal would be very useful to you, because remember, MLA indexes all kinds of journals. Some of them are going to be in other languages, some of them are going to be more from, say, a dramatic perspective. I'm going to be using Shakespeare in my search today, and people study Shakespeare as English scholars, but they also study Shakespeare as theater scholars. So you might want to learn about a journal. Is this a journal that's really going to be talking about the topic in a way that I'm interested in it? Now I'm going to use the example today of the journal that I happen to co-edit, which is a journal called American Periodicals. So I'm going to do a browse here and bring up titles, and you'll see that when my search results come up, the first one here says American Periodicals, a journal of history, criticism, and bibliography. That happens to be the journal that I co-edit. So I'm going to click on this so I can learn more information about it. And again, I'm going to see if I can drag my screen here, and if I can't, I'm going to resize it in just a second. Okay, looks like it's going to let me do some dragging. So, I can learn that the American Periodicals publishes articles that treat any aspect of American periodicals, that's both magazines and newspapers, from the beginning of American culture to the present, and so on and so forth. I can see that the publisher is the Ohio State University. They're the academic press that publishes the journal that I edit. I can see the frequency. It's published twice a year. It has a circulation of 500. That means that the print version of the journal is mailed out to 500 individuals and or libraries across the United States. But of course, it's also available in electronic format. And so you can access this journal online, and many, many, many more users use it than that. And it tells you that, available in print and electronically, and what it has in it. You scroll down, it says, is it peer-reviewed? Yes, it is. Who are the editors? Karen Roggenkamp, Craig Monk, and Cynthia Patterson. And you can scroll down and get more information about the journal here. But that's one way to determine if a source you find is likely to be useful to you, is to actually look up the name of the journal and see what information you can glean about it. But right now I'm going to go back to the new search tab, and I'm going to do some dragging again here. And I'm going to explain some other places that you might want to go before you actually start to put in your search terms. One of them is over here with the question mark on the right hand side next to the search and clear button. What this will allow you to access is special terminology that you might need to use when you do your search. For instance, it defaults to a Boolean search, but say you need to do a wildcard or a truncated search. In other words, you don't want to search for the full name of something. You want to search for a shortened version of it, and I'll show you a sample in just a minute. Well, you need to know what symbol this particular database uses to do truncation. So if I click on wildcard and truncation, it tells me that the wildcard is represented by the question mark or the pound sign. So, and it gives an example here that if I put a question mark, type a question mark after the letters N-E and before the letter T, I'm going to get neat, nest, next. So that's one way I can customize my search. What I'm going to show you as an example is, say I want to do something about women, but I want to know whether it's women or woman. I want versions of it. So I would do W-O-M-A-N question, I would do W-O-M question mark N. So that way I'm going to get results that have both women in it and woman in it. And I can also do truncation this way. And so it will give me all words that start with W-O-M and then have whatever at the end of it. But notice that you'll get other words that you may not want. Womb will come up on that search, and you may not want womb. You may just want woman or women. So you want to know, in every database that you use, always look for that question mark or help sign, because it will tell you what tools the database uses to do other kinds of searches. Okay, I've shown you the toolbars. I've shown you how to access the MLA directory of periodicals to find out information about a periodical. Now let me show you a little bit more using a very specific search. We're going to be reading in drama William Shakespeare's Hamlet. So I'm going to type in Shakespeare, William. Now notice that I could go over here and under select a field I could do a whole lot of things, author, subject, and so on. I don't really want to put in author because that would mean it would only bring up things written by William Shakespeare, not things written about William Shakespeare. So I always tell students, first start with not selecting a given field. Think of this like making an ice carving. You want to start off with the biggest chunk of ice possible, and then you want to gradually use your search or your database tools to carve away and get at that small amount of returns that really answers the research question you're trying to answer. So we're going to put in Shakespeare, William. I'm not going to select a specific field, but I am going to put here under my Boolean search Shakespeare and Hamlet, because the play that we're reading by Shakespeare is Hamlet, and the topics for writing about the play are specific to the play itself. Okay, so let's see how many returns I get doing nothing else but just putting in Shakespeare, William, and Hamlet. I get 4,732 returns. Now that's a lot of returns, maybe more returns than I really want. So I haven't even begun to customize my searches. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back and do a new search and see if I can cut away at this. And the first thing I'm going to do is make sure that I get only returns that are native to my language, because I only want returns that are written in the English language. If you scroll down here again, you'll see that the default is pretty much all languages. I don't want all languages. I want only those articles in these journals that are written in English. So I'm going to go ahead and customize and say English or Ing, and then go ahead and do my search over again. Now that dropped it down by about 600. I'm down from 4,732 to 4,135. But that's really still a whole lot of returns. So there are other ways then that I can customize. And if I go over here to the menus running up and down the left side, I'm in a hurry. I don't want to get something out of a printed journal. I want only something I can access the full text online. So I'm going to click on linked full text. Now that takes it down from 4,135 to 1,020 returns here. So I'm beginning to chip away and get smaller returns, which is what I want. Now I've stipulated that you can only use articles that were published in peer-reviewed journals. That is, journals where the article had to go out blind, that is without any author information on it, to experts in the field to determine if it was the right if it was scholarly enough. So we're going to click on peer reviewed. Now I'm down to 839 returns, and now it's getting better. That's still, though, a whole lot of returns. So that's where you start to think about, well, what's my topic? What is it about Shakespeare's Hamlet that I'm really interested in? So now I'm going to type in soliloquy. So say you're really interested in researching the soliloquies in Shakespeare's Hamlet. Now I click on it. And now I've really carved my searches down to a manageable number. I have 19 returns here in that search, and that's really pretty good. Now, there are other ways that you can customize. If we go over here to the right-hand side, you'll see that your default might be the most relevant. That is, it might return the most relevant searches first. Well, one of the things we have to think about is getting the most recent documents, because the most recent research is probably going to be the best because it will have taken advantage of all the research that's gone before. So I always suggest that students customize it so that you're always getting the newest articles first. Now, one caution: sometimes when you do the newest first, you won't get links to PDF full text. You will because you've said you only want full text, but there might be even new articles that aren't yet available electronically because some journals put a block on 3 to 5 years most recent, and they do not make them available online. So be careful about whether you say linked full text, because you could find more recent articles, but you might have to get them in print either through walking into the library in Tampa or through requesting them on interlibrary loan. So that's just something to keep in mind. The next thing you want to keep in mind is, again, just look at the name of the journal, Studies in Philology. Philology, the history of words. Is that really what I want? I'm not sure. Look at the journal length, or the article length, 609 to 641. That's a nice long article. I think I could use that. Notice the second one is pretty short. It's only 8 pages. It goes from page 401 to page 409, Shakespeare's Burlesque and the Performing Self. I'm not sure that's going to be long enough to be helpful to me. So look at the journal that it's published in, look at the length of the article, and make sure it's long enough to be useful to you. Anything over 15 pages is likely going to be pretty useful to you. Okay, I'm going to stop there. The next video is going to cover how we're going to use the MLA International Bibliography and working with a tool called RefWorks to begin to create a library of our sources that we can use later.